Welcome to the Pathways to Profitability podcast, personal tales of business success, where we hear local business owners' personal stories of their trials and tribulations that got them to where they are today. Here's your host, Cheryl Mucha, CEO of CFO Your Way.
Hello, and thank you so much for joining us today. My guest today, I'm super excited, is Leslea Stock-Lopez from Star Group Wealth Management. Leslea is based out in Texas, but I am so excited that you took the time and are here with us today and to share your experience with our audience. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Cheryl.
So I always like to start with just giving our audience a little bit of a background of who Leslea is, a little bit about the company, and then we'll get into the detail of it.
Thanks again for having me. A little background about myself and my business. I've been a financial advisor for over 25 years, and I've been in the industry even a little bit longer than that. My company is in Houston, Texas, and we are a full-service financial advisory firm and really focus on retirement planning. That's the cornerstone of our business.
So
Is there any? Go ahead.
When you say retirement planning, to me, that means with a business or with individuals, or do you do both sides of it?
Right. So, yeah, thank you for that question. I really work primarily with business owners, but I also help with their 401k plans as well. So it's comprehensive as far as around retirement planning. But I really love working with individuals because each person has a specific need or goal, and they're all unique. And I love it because it's like putting together a puzzle. Everyone has a different story to tell and a different way of approaching it.
Yeah, I love the puzzle analogy because so much of what's happening in our lives, personally and in our business lives, contributes to our not only financial future, but our finances today.
Agreed.
And being able to see all those pieces. I see you as being unique in the industry, that you take the time to really get to know your client and know about their business situation, their personal situation, what their hopes and dreams and goals are. So tell me a little bit about, am I on track there with that's what makes you stand out from the rest?
Yes, absolutely. And that's the reason why I started my firm. In the past, the larger firms that I worked for were really more interested in transactions. And that's not what my passion is. And it wasn't what my clients were needing. So my firm is unique in the sense that we do comprehensive planning that really dives deeply into every aspect of the client's lives. So I'm on top of Social Security, taxation, Medicare, as well as the investment portion. And I think you have to be if you're going to provide clients with that really deep understanding of their full financial picture.
Yeah, I agree 100%. It's so important to you can't look at it in silos. You need the full rainbow, every piece to the puzzle kind of
Yes,
approach to finances. So tell me
exactly.
a little bit about what made you get into this industry. Was there something that happened in your childhood or in your college life, or like what was that trigger that made you get into this industry?
Well, I think the genesis of becoming an entrepreneur was through my mother. She had her own business. She had a catering business, and I helped her since I was a little kid. And so I really saw what it was like to be a business owner and understand that process. Although at the time it was just a job and helping the family out, it really kind of shaped my confidence in having my own business. Out of college, I went to New York and I worked at the last remaining advertising agency on Madison Avenue, Young and Rubicam. And I was a media planner and a buyer. So I've always liked the crunching the numbers and the planning portion of it kind of came naturally to me. And after I had been working in advertising for several years, I had two clients who were in the financial services industry, and they were my favorite clients. And I loved getting to know them and to really kind of dive into their business. And I thought, well, what a great combination of the planning background that I have and then this passion that I have for the financial side, and kind of combined those together. And it really just dovetailed into a career that I just absolutely love.
And you could throw a great party with wonderful food, right?
Exactly.
That
Yeah, I did learn a
that's
lot.
yeah, and that's fun to grow up in that environment because, not only, is it a job, because when we're kids like that, we just think of it as like, "Oh, it's a job," but you pick up pieces of how to run the business, what's important, customer service. You talk about the pieces of the puzzle, like there's so many pieces of the puzzle there to learn at such a young age.
Mhm. Absolutely. Yeah. And my mother was a tremendous role model for me. Not only was she a successful business owner, but she raised three kids. She took care of her widowed mother, yeah, and she was an Energizer bunny through it all. And to me, no one was a better role model in that capacity, because she was able to balance both life, personal and professional life, and she did it with grace. And I just can't say enough about how much she helped me. And she was also my first client. She was my first retirement planning client, and mom was always there, supportive, day one. She's still my client. She refers me, and I just am so lucky and blessed to have a partner like that.
Yeah, that's beautiful to have,
Mhm.
that role model so close and so consistent in your life.
Yes.
Very
Yes,
nice. So
absolutely.
how long have you been an entrepreneur?
Well, I started my financial planning practice, which, as a financial advisor, you are responsible for developing your own client base, whether you work for a large firm like a Merrill Lynch, which is where I started, or my own firm. So I've had that aspect of it has been consistent for the last 25 years. But in 2018 is when I broke away from a larger brokerage firm and started my own group, Star Group Wealth Management.
And what was the trigger that made you break away? Was there something in particular?
Well, I really was finding a lot of constraints in the level of service that I could offer clients. The traditional brokerage firm is really transactionally oriented, and I wasn't able to give that full comprehensive review that I really wanted to. I just didn't have control to serve the clients to the highest level that I needed. So I made a decision that it was time for me to move out on my own and serve my clients to that higher level.
Yeah, I think especially in wealth management and dealing with your clients' money, I think that customer service and again that intimate relationship. I mean, I don't like to use intimate in a business setting, but it is an intimate relationship,
Mhm.
especially with money,
Yeah.
is so critical. And I agree, so many firms don't offer that. It's just about, the transactions, what needs to be done to grow this portfolio.
Right. Right. And it's important that certainly the growth of the portfolio is paramount, but it's not the only element. Clients are really looking for much more than just the investment portion. I think that's almost like a given. And if you're not giving all the additional areas that support that, then you're really not serving your clients to their best interest.
I agree. So how do you define business success, not only for yourself, but for your clients as well?
Right. So to me, being successful at business is not only is it a financial success, but it's got to be something that you're passionate about doing, that comes natural, that you really are able to give a level of service that's above and beyond. And it just, like I said, just kind of comes naturally. So success would be having a practice or a business that you really love, going in every day and being excited about that, which I absolutely am. And then also, of course, making sure that your business is financially successful so that it can support your family and all the hopes and dreams that you would like to have. And I think it's important to make a difference in clients' lives. So what I do does have a significant difference, and that kind of feeds my soul.
And I love when I do these podcast interviews and people talk about their passion for, what they do. So I feel very strongly about that because I feel as if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life.
Exactly, exactly.
And so many people just kind of stay in the lane, even though they're not really happy. And life just passes us by. And I love what I do, so I never feel like I'm just kind of stuck in a rut or anything. And to be able to pass that on to next generation, like my children are, finishing up college, and to instill in them to find that passion and to do what they really love. I think it's just so important.
It it is because you really want your children to be happy in what they're doing, and to
Absolutely.
see someone in a career that they're just going through the motion for a paycheck just seems
Right.
like a very sad way to live life. And so I really encourage my clients to follow their passions. I had a client who was working in IT and hated it, wanted to be a writer, and he came to me and he said, I don't know if I can do this, but can I try this? It's my passion. And we work together, and he's a successful writer now. And I love being able to guide him to a place where he just excelled and bloomed.
And to have the comfort, financial comfort, that he
Mhm.
was able to make that very, very big shift in his
Yeah.
life.
Yes. Yes. Very big change.
Yeah, and I think as entrepreneurs, that's what we do, right? We leave the stability of the job and the paycheck and, maybe not being really happy to pursue our passion. And with that, there's a lot of risk, financial and otherwise.
Mhm. Yeah, it definitely you're going out on that limb,
Mhm.
but I think that life is too short to not take that chance. And of course, you have to look at the financials and be smart about the choice, but you do have to take that step off and that leap. But I think if it's passionate, it will happen.
Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth. I was gonna say, if you're passionate about it, the likelihood of success is so great.
Mhm. Yes.
So I hear from you that, you're really, really love what you do, you're passionate. Is there something else that motivates you to face every day?
Well, my family, of course, is a key to my success and my joy. And so making sure that I have a career and a business that is stable and financial to help support them is very, very important. And then, of course, I have some charities and things like that that I work towards that are also passionate of me, specifically the Alzheimer's Association.
Oh, very nice.
Mhm.
So what do you do to have that nice work-life balance?
Uh, Well, I made a decision that when I'm at the office, I'm fully engaged and working, and spending my efforts to make sure that I do the very best that I can for the
Right.
clients. But when I leave, I leave my financial advisor hat at the office and really dive into being the best wife and mother and daughter, friend, and focus on my family and my friends, and the things that are really important to supporting that part of my life. And I think you need to do that because it's easy to get burned out as an entrepreneur. There's kind of like our baby. Our business is our baby, and we spend a lot of time and effort. But if we don't step away, I think we can easily burn ourselves out. And so you need that diversion so that you be even better entrepreneur and business owner when you come back.
I I couldn't agree more. Stepping away and leaving the hat at the door is so important. Unfortunately, I work in my home, so the hat at the door is just a couple steps away. But you have to have that mindset of separating the two.
Yes, and yeah, working from home, it's really easy to blur those lines. And when we were doing the COVID situation, I did work a lot more because it was out of my home too. So I have a separate office, and it's really for that reason. So I can leave that office, close that door, and go into the other part of my life and my with my family.
So tell me a little bit about the volunteer work that you do in the organizations that you support.
Yeah. So I mentioned the Alzheimer's Association, and that's been a passion of mine since 1995. My grandmother was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, and they were so instrumental in helping us. I felt like I had to pay it forward. So I've been a volunteer for them since 1995. I'm a speaker and an advocate. And I'm pretty proud about something we just completed, a new financial planning and resources for those who have been diagnosed and their caregivers. And it's a new national program that's being released. And I was part of the steering committee in the creation of that. And so I'm very proud because it's a great piece of work. And when a person gets a diagnosis, it really throws everything up in the air. And the financial portion is so critical because it is such a long-term and a long extension of a disease that if you're not looking at your finances, it can really derail, the whole family's financial situation. So that's a big part of my life as far as my personal side.
Yeah,
And then
well,
we have a walk team for our star group. We have a team, it's called Walking with Grace. My grandmother's name was Grace. And we
beautiful.
raise money for research, and we do the walks in Houston every year.
Oh, that's really nice. Well, congratulations. That sounds like a great program.
Thank
Can
you.
you share with our audience where they can find out more information on that program?
Yes, they can certainly, wherever they are in the country, there are local chapters. So you can go to your local chapter, and on the internet, you can go to alz.org. And when you go onto the website, it'll take you to your local chapter, and you can look at the resources. And and there are probably I would say about 20 different presentations that the Alzheimer's Association has, and they're all excellent and really great ways to support families, caregivers, and individuals who have been diagnosed with the disease.
Well, I am like super impressed. That is huge and such a benefit to families because, like you said, you get that diagnosis, you just go into kind of a tailspin, and where do you start, and who do you go to? And I'm sure that if anyone in our audience is in that situation or unfortunately experiencing that, they can most definitely reach out to you for support and guidance as well.
Absolutely, it'd be my pleasure.
Is there anything else that you would like to share with our audience? Anything else that is about Star Group or any other programs that you're involved in?
Well, I also started the Houston chapter of Women in Insurance and Financial Services. So from a professional standpoint, that's sort of my mentoring side, and the organization is all about bringing women into this career, which is very male dominated, and but I think women are so perfectly suited for this particular industry. So we work with college students and young women to get them really set up within the business, understand, help with the mentoring program. I know it's a little bit rough to get started in the industry, but we kind of give these ladies a hand up and make sure that they become successful. So that's a big part of what I do as far as supporting my business and my industry.
I'm glad you brought that up because I thought of that, before we started the recording here. I was like, oh, should we bring up the whole, men versus women, and the industry is so saturated with men, and to find a woman that is, dedicated to the industry and successful in the industry. So I'm really glad that you brought that up because I don't know what the statistics are, but I'm going to say that the percentage of men to women is pretty high.
Yes, there's only 17% women are in this industry, so we've got a long way to go. But I know that by doing just what we're doing, which is really supporting the young women who are just getting out of
Mhm.
school and making sure that they understand what a great and wonderful career this is, that we will increase those numbers.
Right. And it's a path towards entrepreneurship. So women coming out of, college or whatnot, working under someone's wing, getting the training that they need and the real life experience, becoming an entrepreneur later. is such a viable path.
Yes. Yes, and I think this industry is so wonderful for women because of the flexibility it provides. You can set your own hours, and if you need to leave to pick up a child because they're ill, you have that great flexibility. And I just think it's a really custom fit career for women. We're really good listeners. Yeah, that's paramount in being a successful advisor, and we're empathetic. So I think if you've got a good skill set and you like the financial industry, it's really well suited for women.
Yeah, and those two characteristics most men don't have. I might get some negative feedback on that comment, but I'm gonna agree with you 100% that that really makes the women in the industry, and in so many industries, stand out because of the empathy and the compassion that we have for our fellow human beings.
Right. And when we're doing retirement planning, we women, we live longer than men. So the odds that a woman will be on her own at some point in her life and fully in charge of her finances is very high. And so it's important, that women feel like they've got a woman who can empathize and understand the journeys that they've gone through and really help them through that process.
Yeah, I didn't think of it in that regard, but yeah, you're right. I mean, eventually we as women have to take control of our finances, and
Mhm.
if we have someone to go to and rely on and be there by our side to support us, it's super important.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for being here with me today. I really enjoyed our conversation, and I know our audience will get lots of information from listening. And to
Well,
our
thank
audience,
you.
thank you. Thank you. To our audience, thank you so much for being here with us. Leslie's information will be in the show notes. Be sure to subscribe so that you get notified of any future episodes. You can go to pathwaystoprofitability.com to see all of our episodes and find all the links to the audio and video. Thank you. Be well, be healthy, be safe.
That's it for today's episode of Pathways to Profitability. Remember to ask yourself, where can I pay my success forward today?